Welcome back, everybody, to another BAVSOUND video installation guide. You guys, some of you are familiar with us, many of you might not be. We are the world leader in direct fit plug-and-play speaker upgrade kits for BMWs. Today, we are in, we're actually coming to you from the future. It's 2024. We're in this little car and you plug it into the wall and you zip around town for a bit and you never put any fuel in it. This is the little i3, which is probably my favorite BMW right now. It's just gorgeous. We're kind of in the process or whatever here, but today we are going to cover bringing music and upgraded music, and for some of you, music, because a lot of these i3s have only 2 speakers in them, really changing the way you experience the drive here in your i3. So we're going to start kind of, this is our stage 1 speaker upgrade, so this is all of our mid-ranges and our tweeters. And we'll come back for another video where we're doing the woofer upgrade for the bass, the lower frequencies, which are down here in the kick panels, respectively. So that's kind of it. Pretty straightforward process here. I was rather blown away with how straightforward it was. This should take a novice, you know, to do all the speakers should take a couple hours. So it's very straightforward, and let us get moving forward. All right, so the way I like to do these things, in this car I'm just feeling the driver's front door today. So we're going to work our way around the car. So and then as we do each speaker, before we put everything together, we take a quick listen, make sure everything's playing. We're not going to audition until every speaker's installed. We just want to confirm that there's not any funky business with a harness, or maybe there was a problem with the factory speakers. So anyway, we want to do it one door at a time, one area at a time, make sure we've got tunes, and proceed. So the way we do that, first things first, we have our beautiful BAVSOUND BMW specific toolkit, which is a little canvas pouch, and I've put it together with these tools that we need to make this install happen for even the most novice of individuals. So we've got all of the Torx bits, the little star bits, you've probably heard of those before, the panel removal tools, the little pick tools to help get the little pieces out. So for this car, we're going to need a right angle pick. We're going to need our plastic panel removal tool. I'm just going to put these on the floor as I kind of identify them. We're going to need our kind of just bit driver, because we're going to have to put some various Torx bits in this driver. And we are going to need this metal panel removal tool to get some of the clips off of the back side of the door panel. So this is used behind the panel, not anywhere where it can mar the panel. So we'll go through that. But for this particular door, these are the tools we're going to need. So everything else we can kind of just fold up, put to the side. This is cool to have just around the house, around the garage. It'll basically take apart anything German. Or you can use things like this for just around the house. Anyway, let's get started. Super simple. Believe it or not, this door is only held on by 3 screws, the first of which is hiding right here behind the door handle. So we just take our little right angle pick, and we kind of carefully get them in there, and it just pops right out, and you lose it right there under the car. So we'll get that later if I remember, but there she will be. And this first bolt we are confronted with is a Torx T20. So then to get to it, we just open the handle, and hey, look at that, it magically appeared. Maybe you have a little, one of your buddies is helping you out with. Actually, it's always more fun to do this with one of your buddies and some beers. Let's be honest, huh? All right, so we'll put our little parts up here. And so that's our first screw out. And then oddly enough, you guys, there's a little panel up here. Just a little plastic panel right here on the door pull. You can see this little, that guy needs to come out. And to do that, we use our blue panel removal tool. So it's kind of got a sharp edge, you can see, not sharp, but a flat edge. And so all we need to do is get this back behind there. And oddly enough, it just pops out. And I'll show you how it attaches. It's you just follow this edge, and out it comes. So you've got a little tab here, a little tab here, and a tab on the back. So we pop down and then pull forward. And that's how we extract this from the car. And the rest of this little lip just sits down in there. Really interesting design. I haven't seen this in a BMW before. You tend to see that in some other types of cars. So that, again, it's going to reveal 2 more Torx T20s right back here. So we just pull these guys out. And they come out very easily. It's the same screw. They're all three the same, so if you don't have to worry about mixing them up. No worries there. So we just unscrew these guys, get them the heck out of the way. And now, believe it or not, we can pull this panel off. And there is a method to this madness. So effectively, this panel, there are a series of clips behind the door around this perimeter. And then it actually just kind of folds into this black piece down here. So there's no clips on that bottom edge. It's kind of weird. So let's kind of get started. It's easiest back here. Truth be told, just taking your finger back here and just pulling out a little bit like so. Bam. And from this point forward, you may or may not need this again. But now, all we do with our hands, just pull straight off. Like so. You just work around. And then, like I said, we just lift up to get the bottom. And then we just unplug some harnesses. So the first thing we'll unplug is the speaker itself. So just pull out of the speaker. And then we're going to kind of work around the door handle. This is kind of, it's not tricky, but you can see on this little yellow tab, there's a little yellow tab down there. Just using our finger, just lift up. That's all you got to do. Pops right out. And now it's just a series of plugs. There's about 77 of them. Actually, there's 477 of them, as you can see. And then we just start unplugging and kind of derouting them from this funny business back here. Don't just yank on these plugs, these big green ones. Hold the base and pull out on them. Boy, I just said that out loud, and it's kind of funny. Think about what I just said. I'm just getting to be an old man and think my jokes are funny. So again, down here, you hold on to the base and pull out the plug. Like so. Very easy. And then this is where I was talking about that metal panel removal tool. You'll need it back here to get these guys out. So we just go pop them out like so. Look at all this crazy stuff. I mean, they routed around the speaker. Right? It's just the oddest choice of wiring routing I may have encountered in 20 years. I don't. And these guys just kind of pop out. Look at all this work to get that harness out of there. Although keep in mind, it's only a minute to get this door panel off if you're not trying to narrate the process. It's really straightforward. Or by many accounts, it's about one beer. Okay, door panel off, easy. Now some of you, I might suggest, taking our sound deadening, and we'll go over this up on the workspace, but we would apply sound deadening all around here. And in this car, it's not to cut down on resonance because the speaker actually mounts to the door, and it actually mounts to a very dense piece of foam, which is wonderful because it isolates that resonation as it comes out into the panel. But we would do it for noise cancellation, to minimize the road noise coming in through the doors, because as you know, these cars are all about minimalism and keeping weight down, etc. And a lot of people might find these cars a bit noisy on the road, just the wind noise and the road noise and such. So we'll go over that. But anyway, with this panel off, as you can see, we have access to our speaker, and we just simply 1, 2, 3, pull the speaker out, and then we'll go over the install of the new speaker as well. But let's pause it right here and get this up on the workspace and safely out of the way. All right, so panel's off. We've got a nice clean space. Maybe we have a beer or two in us, and we can proceed. First thing you probably noticed is, look at this. Look at that. They stapled it with like 2 staples. Look at that. It's insane. Anyway, my mind was blown. So I've got some tape that just for my own edification. This is like gaffer's tape. That's really sticky tape. Those of you in the Northeast, it's very similar to like hockey tape, that they put on the hockey sticks. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that because I can't believe that BMW just literally put a couple of staples here and there to hold this in. It's funny that you're seeing the brand new $45,000 car. All right, so now that that's at least not going to fall, the mid-range. Torx T20, 3 of them. Super simple. You might have noticed that the OE driver, the factory speaker, plugs in on the front half of the speaker, where ours comes off the back. And the reason we did that, I can show you, because you can see the design of the surround on the factory speaker, and you can see the design of the surround on our speaker. And the reason we've done it this way, because with this inverted surround, it allows us to better control the dispersion of the mid-range frequencies so that it's in more of a bell-shaped, as opposed to this surround, which defines the speaker in a very specific way. So we get a better, I guess the layman's term, it blends better into the cabin of an automobile when the mid-range frequencies can spread out further, as opposed to being in this controlled, uniform direction. So ours come off the back. So you can see our driver. Here's the OE driver here. Pretty substantial. Again, you can kind of see that. So we do, however, need to pull off this rubber boot. This is always done for just, for years we've just been doing this. Every speaker company does it. It's really just about aesthetic, so it looks nice and feels nice. But in certain applications, we do need to remove it just for spatial constraints. So it's kind of a nice little koozie to have around the garage, or you can throw it at a nuisance child you may have, something to that effect. So that being said, we take our driver, we take our, where did that go? Where the heck did I put that? No. Here it is, fell off. So when it was shipped, there's a little ring on the front. We just take the ring, we put it on the back. As you can see, we're using factory BMW connectors. This one we actually don't use in the i3 because the tweeter is in the A pillar, so we just ignore this black connector when we pull it back through. And so what we're ultimately going to do, there's a little hole down here that we're going to pull the speaker wires through and back up. So all we got to do is just kind of snake the wires down like so. And then we'll get them in a moment, so don't worry about that. And then we just get the speakers sorted in the car on the foam ring like such. And then we just by hand, it sounds silly to have to tell you this, but a lot of people just go through and they torque these bolts down and warp the speaker basket, because the speaker basket is just a composite material. So you don't want to just go through and cinch one bolt down and then go through and cinch another one. You kind of want to start them all by hand, give or take. Get everything lined up. And then we just sort the foam ring and get it nice and secure back there. Even though it's already on a foam ring, we'll take a little bit more insulation. It can't have too much. So again, we just get it snug, snug, and snug, like so. And then we just work our way around. Snug it up. I'm not using a lot of force here, you'll notice. You don't need to wrench these down, just and when it's good and snug, a little bit more, and a little bit more. So that's done. Now, thanks to the magic of staples, you can lift this up and you can feel right here, there's just a gap that goes back. I don't know if you guys can, yeah, just like that's the other side of the panel. This is just this little shield that BMW puts in there for road noise and such. So we're going to make a very small hole right about there, like so. And then we're just going to go back here with our finger and fish for those wires. I don't know where they are in this. They're back here somewhere, I suppose. So you can see we just pull our wires out of the hole like so. And then again, you're going to want to do this regardless. So either, this is again, I'll pick it up. Again, just taking a piece of tape, gaffer's tape or whatever. Pulling this down, pulling it up, and then putting this tape on there, like so. And then we're good to go. We pull the tape, pull the wires right up here. This material is just insane, huh? It's like a little piece of, it's like a giant cotton ball. And then I just kind of do this like so. untape it just out of the way here so that we can reconnect the factory connectors back over here when they're nice and out of the way. So then I'll put another piece of tape here, like so, just to keep everything. Still blows my mind that that's, I mean, look at, it's just crazy. And then this is just me being anal. You may or may not want to do this. Some people might not even care. So cool, and that's it. So we'll just plug this back into the factory connector when we put the panel back on, and that is it. I mean, it's that simple for the mid-range. So for those of you without the Harman Kardon system, we will have a small little integrated point source tweeter, which is actually in the middle, so where this cone is. So you're going to have a little tweeter in there that's going to have a bell coming off of it, again, with the same intention to scatter those higher frequencies and to back the tweeter into the pole piece so that the high frequencies, which travel at a speed much faster than mid-range frequencies, are effectively hitting your ear at the same point. It's a really trick little design that we've been playing with for a while, so we'll be stoked to release those to you guys later on in 2015. But for now, we're done, and effectively, assembly is reverse of removal. There's nothing complex here. Plugging in all the funny harnesses. Actually, here's the factory speaker harness. Wait, which one is it? Yep. It's this 2-pin plug here. So on the driver's front door, it's the black red and the black brown, and it just plugs in like so, and then the speaker is connected. So now we could turn the car on. Just turn it on real fast. And I heard some action. Yep, so we're good. So again, turn the car off, and that's it. So we're good to go. We'll just reassemble the panel, which there's no tricks to it. We'll probably film it, but if you don't want to watch that part, you don't have to. Very few tricks involved. So let's pause here, and I'll start getting this panel on. Now, we just start plugging in these myriad of harnesses we've been left with. And hell, to be honest with you, I got to remember what goes where. So we start looking. That's 4 pins. That looks to be 4 pins. That seems to want to go to this general vicinity. Yep. I don't think we're gonna goof anything up. I feel good. I feel good about it. Got the little guys here, little guys there. What are you gonna do? Oh, okay. So we come over here, put you there. Remember, I said this black plug coming off of the BAVSOUND mid-range. We do not need that. Oh, that's right. This funky business. Wait a tick. Oh, okay. What a weird little guy. We're going to have to talk to BMW about this harness design. Funky business. Oh, it also just occurred to me, I'm glad you're still here with me. There is one thing I neglected to show you guys. I think neglected is a strong word. Nevertheless. Forgot, perhaps. All right, the funny business is complete. Wait, this guy. Where do you go? Looks like you want to go right there. Yeah? Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, that seems about right, but okay. The one thing I forgot to show you, I brought it in here. Here it is. The foam ring around the mid-range driver. So you can see we use this these parts you don't need. You can just use them for frisbees or whatever. You can see the factory speaker didn't have it doesn't seal up well with the door. So with these guys, tailored these specific again. So we just put the ring around the driver like so. We can't ship them with these because we don't want them to get crushed. So we've got to put them on the garage floor. So, all right, so that's it. That's easy. Now, this guy, this part, some people, you could find it tricky, I suppose. But basically, all you do, there's a little lip up here on the front. There's a little lip here. It just goes in and snaps down. That's it. And then just to test it, open the door handle and make sure your mechanism is operating fluidly. And then we tuck this guy back through Where's your other house, little guy? They had you in down there. Seems like, yeah, there's your other little place. And then, remember, this bottom edge kind of just sits in there anyway. Then we sort this guy through there. And you know what? Now, we just put the door on. Snap everything to place. Get everything lined up. Doop, 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 doop. At these top, these guys are kind of being a bear. A little bearish. There we go. Doop, doop, doop. Ah, you were the problemo. And then just take this top lip, make sure everything's cool. Easy way to do that is to take your panel tool here and just run it down, make sure everything's cool. You don't have any funky business going on. Doop, doop, doop. Look at that. And with that, the door panel is on, and we can just go ahead and reinstall these guys back in their respective locations, securing up the panel properly. This one's, I mean, the car is just so brilliantly put together. And it might have seemed like a little bit longer on tape because you're watching me do it, but when no one, when there's no one bothering you and you only have 1 or 2 beers in you, you can get the door panel off and do this whole process in 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you've never done it before. And then last but not least, this little guy here. See, there's a little foot. There's a little hole up there. A little foot goes in the hole, I think. Wait a tick. No, I was wrong. It goes in the front. It's hard to show you guys, but these are always tricky. It's like the easiest thing, but it's so complex. Yeah, let's see here. Let's see here. Ah, look at that. Wrong on all accounts. This little foot goes up like that. Look at that. Perfect. We just put a brand new mid-range in our i3, and we are going to have a beer. I'm just kidding. Maybe. And from here, we're going to just head back. I think we'll do the back door now. Let's do the back door. Just for lighting purposes for us, and then we'll head up front, do the tweeters and the center channel. Right, so we are tackling the center channel in the Harman Kardon equipped i3. If you don't have the Harman Kardon system, you don't have to worry about this part because it's not in your car. So super straightforward. Plastic panel removal tool. Just run it along this lip. Boy, I tell you what, that is pretty darn tight. I assume this would be like every other one. It is not. There we go. So maybe from the front. There we go. Ah, yeah. Same thing. Look at that. They crammed a tweeter up there too. How about them apples? So we will be removing this horrible aluminum tweeter from firing directly off the glass, along with its counterparts in each A-pillar, chopping your ears off. We are almost done with that. So again, these are all held in with Torx T20s. I don't even know how they fit this up here. I mean, this is mind-boggling to me. So to get the tweeter out, we've actually got to get from our toolkit, we've got that right angle screwdriver in there. We will need it for this process. So we get the mid out first. Voila. Then we grab our right angle screwdriver, put the Torx T20 in there, like so. Then we reverse. Super handy. Exciting too. This right angle driver is just so endlessly handy. You don't ever loan this out. You'll never get it back. Okay, so now we pull the mid out first. We unplug the mid, we unplug the tweet, we pull the tweeter out, and voila, we are done. So we're going to pause here. I'm going to grab the drivers we need. We shall come back and reinstall and rock. All right, so popping in the new tweeter. It needs to be oriented a very specific way with the terminals facing the rear of the car. So we drop the tweeter in like so. You can see there's a little gap for the wires to go into, and then we just line up the tweeter. Now we have a big, beautiful 25mm silk dome singing sweet nothings into your ear right off of the dashboard. So at this point, we no longer have to concern ourselves with going deaf from the harshness of the factory tweeter. Snug as a bug in a rug. I just read that book with my daughter. It's wonderful if you haven't gotten around to it yet. So now we got two connections here. One for the tweeter, one for the woofer, which I've put right here in front of me. So again, we need to pull off the rubber boot. We then take our tweeter, plug it in like so, plug in our mid-woofer, let it magnetize all the screws, plug it in as well, and then the old tuckaroo like so. Everything down and around and out of the way, and then we snug it down like so. So you got to flip it under the tweeter. Actually, you know what? In the future, I would say put the mid-range first. And then we just screw it in the same way we did before. Always start with your hand. I can't really see much from this angle. There we go. I think I'm just doing the wrong area. So you just get it snug. 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 Don't go wrenching these down. Snug. And snug. And our beautiful setup is complete. So we can just take this voila. I mean, again, it looked like longer than it was, but it's a very straightforward process. So center channel is done. We are going to shift over to these front tweeters and the A-pillars and wrap up this stage one. We are here tackling in the Harman Kardon equipped i3s, the front tweeters, which reside here in the A-pillars, which, you see up here, you see the A word, which is airbag. And that petrifies anyone that's not a dealer tech because they think that they're going to explode something. There's an airbag back there. We're not going to touch it. We have no reason to go near it. Moreover, touching an airbag doesn't deploy an airbag, so there's zero concern with someone doing this. So, it's a very straightforward process. We're going to use our plastic panel removal tool and a Torx T30, which that bit is in the BAVSOUND toolkit. So, we just take this guy here, pop it out, really easy. You can see just a couple little clips. Put it up here, we don't want to lose it. Torx T30. Again, we don't want to lose it. Put these guys up here. And now, I mean, hell, I just use my fingers. Maybe something. So now you can see it just comes right out, like the gap. And there's just a couple little clips up here. They're tight, but and then there's only 2 clips, and now we just kind of get it out of here, like so. Then we just rock it out of the, kind of lift up and back towards you. Just a couple little clips up there, and then you just unplug the tweeter, which is just this little blue plug right here, and here's the plug on the tweeter. That's it. And that's how you get it out. And then we'll take this up to the workspace, but I'll show you here in case you don't even want to waste your time. This tweeter, you can see, it just kind of snaps in there. It's actually got a little play from the factory. There's a little bit of, you can see, I always wondered why BMW never put any glue in there. So when we put our tweeter in, just because I'm anal about this sort of thing, we send you a tiny little tube of a silicone-based adhesive, and we just put a couple little dabs just to prevent any sort of weird resonance. I've never understood. They've never done it. So we will fix that. But nevertheless, it's out. We're going to take it to the workspace. We're going to put our new BAVSOUND tweeter in and come back, put it in, and rock out with our socks out. All right. Here, rear doors, i3, Harman Kardon. We have a 100mm mid-range and a 25mm tweeter hiding back here. We need to extract them. Come off just like the front door panels, except there's obviously not a handle back here we have to deal with, but it's the same premise. So got this little piece back here, same like the front door. We just get our plastic panel tool back behind it, pop it off, lift it up. There's a couple of Torx T20s back here. We pull those guys out. This is I've been doing this 20 years, and this is completely counterintuitive to every other door panel I have ever pulled off of any car, not just BMWs. You actually come from the bottom, so it kind of hooks. You'd think this piece comes off. It looks like it should come off, but it actually kind of slides up under it a little bit. And there's something I just will start sharing with you now. There is fiber optics back here. Not fiber optics, this is the wrong word. The little LED illumination lights that are back here for the, I don't know, just the effect or whatever. There's a little module over here where the plug goes into that sends the light in there. You got to be careful. Just don't start yanking things off, but just be conscientious of that when you pull this panel off, because it is exposed back there. And you'll see what I mean when we get it off. It's not complex. I'd be remiss not to tell you about it prior to pulling this panel off. Again, which now with those 2 screws out, it's just going to pop right off. But it's a question of how we do it. So, what's the story? Plastic panel removal tools. Okay, so no metal. All right. Hey, look at that. Christmas comes early. Look at that. Look at us. It's like we know what we're doing. I'm proud of all of us for finding this together. Look at that. Oh, man. Let's pause right here and have a beer. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so there's probably one more. Look, and then we just kind of... There's just like one little clip right here. There we go. Come on, guy. You can do it. There. So look. You see this little guy here? That's what we were just dealing with. It's just really flimsy plastic. Just be super duper careful. If you break it, it's cheap, but don't break it, and you don't have to worry about it. So just be super conscientious with that. And outside of that, I mean, look how straightforward it is. The tweeter's mounted to the panel, so we'll go up to the workspace again. BMW doesn't put any glue, so the tweeter already resonates. So we're going to put a little more glue. And then the mid-range, just like the front door, mounts to the door, and then we just run the wires out over here with all the other wires. So we go plug them in. So hey, pretty straightforward. Let's pause it right here and get up to our workspace. Actually, you know what? We'll pause it right here, and then we'll tackle the mid-range. Then we'll go to the workspace, so we don't have to relight everything. All right, we are here with our shop dog, my little girl Elaine Bennis Seaver. She's 7. She likes short walks around the neighborhood, and she eats garbage. So now let's get this midwoofer out. Elaine, can you go lay down, please? Thank you very much. See you later. Or you can hang out. It doesn't really matter. You probably have to pee. So again, 3 Torx T20s. Woofer out. Out with the old silly, muddy, anemic mid-range, and in with a beautiful composite glass woven curvilinear cone with an inverted surround, all kinds of other sexy time goodness. Now remember, just like on the front doors, we take off our foam ring, we slot the wires through like so we have this accessed. Now again, tricky part here, if you could call it that, there is no direct route like the front door where we can just make a little slit and snake the wires out. We've got to go back here to where all these other wires come out. That's the only entrance from the front of the door to the back of the door. So for this car, you got to make a tiny snip in the rubber, but there's already a snip in the rubber. We're just going to make another one for our wires. So to do that, one hand in. I don't know if you guys can see this. You can see I'm kind of like, yeah, we're good here? All right, so we see that. That's kind of, that's something. All right, so doing that, we take a pair of like little wire cutters. We just go back here and we snip that rubber. And then we make another little snip. And we're also being careful not to obviously cut any wires. I'll tell you, if you're right-handed, it's a lot easier on the passenger door. I mean, yeah. Okay, so look, we've got that hole there now. So all we do is take one connector at a time. So we just come through like this, poke the connector through the hole. So, and we just like that, and then we take the tweeter connector, we do the same thing, right back through. I don't know why, I always give myself instructions in German when I'm working. Cool. So, excellent. So now we've got our wires through. And because this window's fixed, we don't have to really concern ourselves with anything. We don't have to take off the rubber boot back here so they can stay nice and sexy. We get the foam ring lined up, we get the holes lined up. Again, with our hands, we start each screw, just like always. And voila. Oh, and then exactly like the front door, although the rear door you're going to want to watch me put back on. It does require thought. Like the front door, you could have your 4-year-old come out and put on for you. Back door, there's a little bit of cranial involvement required. Get everything snug. And then just like the front mid-range as well, we pop on the foam ring for a nice, secure, snug, like so. Voila. There we go. and we plug in our blue plug to our blue plug. And then this will plug into our tweeter harness, which we're going to connect over on the door. So let us now make our way to the workspace where we can go over the way we put the tweeter into the rear panel. And we'll probably just go ahead and cover the A-pillar while we're up there as well. So we'll check you on the workspace. So while we're on the workspace, we're going to tackle the front tweets in the A-pillar and rear tweets in the side panels. I'd suggest getting off both rear door panels, both front A-pillars, and doing this all at once, because as I had shown you previously, BMW, they don't really, these aren't really glued in there. There's play in the speaker from the factory. So they already kind of resonate a little. I think they do. So we've given you a tiny little tube of this really cool silicone adhesive that we're going to use to kind of secure things up. So anyway, I get all four of them off, do all this at once, then go back to the car, do all the mid-ranges, etc. Come back. We're cured, we're ready to go. So anyway, right angle pick, BAVSOUND toolkit, just pops right out. No funny business. Same over here, just pops right out. Adios, crappy tweeters. Okay, so here is our box of tweets. Read this, heed this, love this, learn this. These guys, anytime you put a tweeter in, one of these must be between said tweeter and its connection to either the mid-range or the factory plug up here. Has to be there. It protects the mid-range. So you can see here's the one from the factory, here's ours. We've gone through, we've made some upgrades. I mean, again, there's many reasons outside of the just removing the aluminum here, replacing it with our, oh, I got the wrong tweeters. Ah, pause. And we're back. All right, so as I was saying, we've got the factory aluminum tin can tweeter, which we shall be replacing with this beautiful silk composite housing with, of course, this super sexy machined aluminum, which peeks out from behind the grill so you can see this ring perfectly. It's quite sexy, as you will see. But out with the old. Go ahead, just to make things simple so you don't forget it, on the workspace, plug in this, which will ultimately connect to the car. And now, I'm going to show you on the A-pillar, the back door panel is exactly the same way. So we just take our BAVSOUND tweeter, we've milled it in such a way that it'll snap perfectly into the housing. It's not directional. It snaps in just like that. And then there's the sexy business, as you can see. And then, all we do, again, because we are going to go above and beyond what the factory did, we're going to put a little dab of glue on each of these little tabs. There's 4 of them. And then we let that cure over here. Put the top back on, and then we just do the same thing over here on the pillar. So, and again, then just let it cure. All 4 of them. Go wash your hands, help your neighbor out with something. We're going to let all this stuff cure for a little bit and join you back in the car to put the panels back together. All right, guys, we are back here. I3, we've installed our tweeter in the panel on our workbench, installed our mid-bass driver here in the door. It is connected. We've got our tweeter plug here ready to be connected. Now, we can take the panel off, like we kind of went over, where we took the panel off and we left this part on. It's very easy to do that. Either way, this panel's got to come off to put it back together. So you can do it before, you can do it after. Let's do it now. So, I would honestly say let's just do it before you even start pulling the rest of the panel off. It doesn't matter, but we got to take it off either way. So, very straightforward. There's 3 bolts. One here on the top, which is this Torx T20, just like every other bolt on the car. So we pull them out. It's just up top, clearly exposed. Then the slickest door handle mount I've come across in a while is this. We got to pull this guy off. And we fold this back. There's a couple of Torx T30 bolts back there. Just loosen them up. You don't have to take them all the way out. Just loosen them up a bit. And then the handle just comes right off. Well, a little bit looser than that, apparently. Loose, 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 and then I think that's, it feels like it's aluminum. It feels aluminum. Maybe somebody will make a Craben Fibre version. A few $100. That'd be pretty slick. I don't know if it's eco-friendly. I wouldn't do it, though. I'm just kidding. All right, so now we need 2 panel removal tools, metal and plastic. This little part right here pops right off with our panel tool. I'll show you kind of how I do this in a moment. So it's just little clips here. Comes right off. Get the seatbelt out of the way, like that. And that reveals a green clip here. There's also a green clip about right here. And then there is a little tab up here. So we just pry that guy out like so. We're free there. Come over here. These things are tight in here. So we definitely use metal here. Like that, as you can see. And then we're free up here. And then we just kind of come down. And at this point, the easiest thing to do, quite frankly, lift up. Like that. And you can see we just basically left this green clip in. We just lifted the panel right up off of it. So that way we can now have pretty darn easy access right to this guy here. And just pop it right out. Then we just reinsert it here, like so. And then when we reinstall everything, we do that. So, you know, I went ahead and left the panel up on the bench, so I'm going to grab it. We're going to come back, work our magic. All right, we are back on, ready to get turned. I recently learned that word. It means excited, I've deduced. So yeah, that's a good thing. All right, panel on, like so. We need to plug in a couple of doohickeys. Doohickey number 1 being our new tweeter. Doohickey number 2 being the funny little LED guy over here. And then, through a series of magical events, we just place this panel up on the door, do some simple aligning. And you'll feel, again, kind of everything just slot in. And then, beep. And then just kind of take your panel removal tool. Like that. And just make it pretty. Odds are, I have seen these before where when I put them back together, it looks better than the factory. Oh. And then this side too. So. And just like before, we take our friend here. All right, so the trick here is lining up the green guy down here. There he goes. Okay. Look at that. And then he goes in to his house, his happy place. But this guy, is that right? I mean, look at this side. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's just the fucking gap. That is the gap. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so yeah, there we go. So then we just line this guy up. First line this top piece up, snap it in place, line up our green guy, and everybody else is just kind of pressure fit. Let's see. This is always easier with your panel tool to just run down this seam. You know, it's even easier just pulling the damn thing off like this. And putting it back on. Perfect. And now pushing this guy back from whence he came. They are just straight up relying on pressure fitting here. That is unique. That is good old-fashioned pressure fitting. This is the way like your old Camaro used to be set up. All right. Then the little tiny screw goes up top. The Torx T30, however, does not fit the little tiny screw. All right, so we put our little tiny screw in. So. And we take this guy, feed the seat belt back through. It hooks on the bottom, on the top. Kind of pulls everything together. So we are all secure, lined up. Well, again, this is just one of those things where perfect. And last but not least, our good friend, this guy. I didn't really name him. I know this is probably super not helpful. Do we just situate it right back on there? Tighten these guys down. I know this looks crazy intimidating, like, oh my God. But again, really, it's just minutes to do this in real time. Then our door handle is back on. And then our last two Torx T20s are right here. Get them snug. And remember, before we did all this, we made sure everything was rocking and rolling, right? We tested, just to confirm. I know I sure did. I didn't, but you should. Even though we test every speaker rigorously before it leaves, we always, so then we got a little tail here that goes in this back corner. You can see, lines up, snaps in, and we are now complete with the rear doors of our Stage One, and we can move up front, finish this A-pillar, and get this party started right and quickly. All right, guys, so got 3 tabs on this bottom edge of the A-pillar, and they all need to align with the female tabs here on the bottom of the dash pad. So it's very straightforward. It's hard to shoot from this angle because I've got to have light, but the camera can't have the light because it washes out. So I'm going to kind of guide it, and we're going to then have to finish shooting from the side over here. So basically what we want to do is get this leading tab in first, and then we come down. It just, there we go. Did that do it? It's so hard to film this. It's like impossible to film it. There we go. So we get the bottom blue tab in, and we get our gaskets out of the way so that the rest of the A-pillar can seat itself properly. So there we go. Look at that. We've got our upper blue tab, which wants to go home. You just got to show him where to go. There he is, and then get a perfect line up here, and then that leaves us with one last Torx T30 that we need to put in, and of course snapping our little airbag pin back in, and we are good to rock. I promise that's easy. It's just when you've got proper light and you don't have 40 lights and camera people standing around, it's so much easier. Then we just run up this just like we did before. Just get everything nice and lined up. Perfection. All is rocking and rolling. Now we just have to hunt down the little airbag thingy down. But that's really, that wraps up the actual speaker portion of the Stage One. So at this point, we're going to go into the iDrive menu and set our equalizer for the HK car. For those of you without the Harman Kardon system, bass flat, treble flat, speed volume all the way down. If you're using your iPhone as a source or another device as a source, you want the aux volume at about 3/4 of the way up. And then if you are using Bluetooth streaming, stop because it doesn't sound nice. Connect it to a USB and rock out that way. Make sure your EQ is flat on your phone or your device. Again, we want a clean signal in, so we get a clean signal out. That's pretty much it. We're going to come back up here into the menu and let me show you guys how we do that. But for now, we're going to pause. It is hot here in Los Angeles today, and I am going to have a big glass of water. So I'll see you back here in a few. All right, so we're in our iDrive. We're going to head over and start looking at some of our settings for our tone controls. So we're going to head through a couple of things we're going to do. First of all, leave bass flat. Depending on your age, if you're a little bit older, you might bump the treble up to flat or +1. For those of us that haven't done too much damage over the years and have always taken care of our ears, treble might be flat or down a notch. But this is a beautiful balance in the Harman Kardon cars. In the more basic cars, we might actually bump the treble up +1 pretty consistently. But in the HK cars, this is a good setting. Balance fader in the middle, volume settings. Head back over here, speed volume all the way down. What speed volume does is as the speed of the car increases, it compensates for that by pulling the bass notes out and boosting artificially the upper mid-range through the higher frequencies. We don't want that. It compromises the sound. So we want to turn that all the way down. And just why not turn the stupid parking distance beeps all the way down and the gong all the way down because it's horrible. And then, yeah, go back up and back. And again, so that's kind of our settings. And from here, we're rocking out. So the kind of one of the things we do, we get everything installed, put on one of your favorite tracks. You want the speakers to play for a good 10 hours before you really wail on them, like before you just wide open, windows down, just the speakers need to break in, the surrounds need to settle in, the spiders need to settle in, the adhesives need to settle in, and everything just needs to become one. And that's kind of the break-in process. Just like when you got the car, although this is an electric car, but for your older gas cars, you know, you can take it easy for a little bit, then you can kind of give them full gas. So again, we can't thank everyone enough for stopping by, learning a little bit about upgrading our speakers in the i3. We can't be grateful enough for everything we've experienced with you guys over the years. So we'll see you next time. Have fun. The road is waiting, guys. What's your soundtrack?